Peace. This is King Noble Black Supremacy. And with this particular video, I want to talk about R. Kelly. In this video, I want to talk about Damon Dash. I want to talk about the age of consent, the contradictions of the age of consent, and the low-key attack on human rights. Try to throw all that into this particular video. Thank you all for listening and watching my videos and supporting my website. Follow me on Instagram, KingNoble999. I want to go in, and I want to start off with some people commenting on my videos, and they're asking me, they're saying, well, because I said the whole R. Kelly thing was a distraction by the elite, and I stand on that this whole R. Kelly thing is a distraction by the elite from government shutdown, dealing with also a distraction from Trump's legal situations, him using the government shutdown to extort the American people and the government for $5.6 billion to put back into the steel industry, and also to slow down the federal government in their investigation of him by shutting down the government. This is the longest government shutdown in the history of the American government. So the American people have to be distracted by that, and someone has to direct their attention elsewhere, because if all of us focus on this administration and the corruption in this government and where we at this time, the people would overthrow the government. So something has to come and divide that attention. Something has to be manufactured and engineered. What perfect thing in this R. Kelly docu-series? It's just perfect timing. I mean, it's so perfect. So to believe that there's people that are not actually sitting back and engineering these circumstances would be to be naive and to really be unconscious. Now, so the person asked me, so how are they deciding to do these distractions? Who's the group of people deciding to do these distractions? And it's a such thing as called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence is when you don't necessarily have the actual proof of what actually occurred, but the circumstances is enough for you to come to a conclusion that XYZ did happen. Now, coincidentally, R. Kelly lives in the Trump's Tower in Chicago. That's Donald Trump's building that he owns. It's under his name. It's Donald Trump's real estate. So Donald Trump is R. Kelly's landlord. Say it's a coincidence if you want. So he's a resident of the Trump Tower, and guess how much R. Kelly's rent is? $20,000 a month. He's 4 months behind in his rent. So he owes $80,000 to Donald Trump. So the elite is letting R. Kelly basically live that for free. So they're saying, oh, he don't have that money. He don't have the money, to be a part of the Illuminati, or he don't have the money to be recognized as an elite. He's going through financial trouble. But this is the point. When you get to that elite level, you don't need money anymore. And that's exactly what the elite want to get you to, where you are broke. So now you're under their mercy, and you're going to owe them a favor just to be able to live the type of lifestyle that you once lived based on your own personal success. People get to a level, it's not based on their personal success anymore. They're literally doing the biddings of the elite. And in exchange for them going along with the elite's agenda, they can still get the things that they want and live the type of lifestyle that they want to do. So R. Kelly is a part of this elite agenda to distract you from assessing and analyzing the true character of Donald Trump, distracting the American people from Donald Trump, from the government shutdown, from the corruption within this country, and also to put this whole new sexual conversation on the table. to open up some other doors, because now I see some other groups capitalizing now that this whole thing of pedophilia, which is really statutory rape but has been put on the table. I see other groups attaching their agenda to this narrative so they can kind of come out and build themselves up off of it and just introduce this entire conversation to the public. But that's a whole nother video. So don't think it's far-fetched. When Kanye's career started going down and he started, you know, suffering financially, he ran to the elites. He went to Europe. He ran to the elite designers. He ran to Donald Trump. He went back to Chicago. He ran to Donald Trump. He went back to where the elite handle their business at. So you see the same thing with R. Kelly. In the Trump Tower, under the elites. His rent is paid. His rent is paid as long as he goes along with the agenda of the elites and allow himself to be utilized as a scapegoat and as a massive major distraction while they do what they got to do, push their agenda forward. That's all I want to say. I'm clear that R. Kelly is being utilized by the elite, by the Illuminati. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is just what it is. You can't change my mind about that. Now, does the conversation, this artificially engineered conversation or situation that's brought to the masses of the people, can we discuss that? And I think, yeah, we can discuss that because certain other issues become relevant. We know that R. Kelly really isn't going to face any criminal prosecution because he hasn't really broken any laws. Charged with what? He hasn't been charged with anything. So he's not gonna. Nothing's really gonna happen with this, really, to R. Kelly. And it doesn't matter how many concerts of his that you banned or how you mute him. As long as he's in the bed with the elite, he'll be all right. And Harvey Weinstein has proved that by having his case dismissed of the charges that are against him. Harvey Weinstein is just basically walking away scot-free, because he's in the bed with the elite. As long as you're in the bed with the elite and with the Illuminati, you'll be all right, because that's who made you. These artists think they made themselves based upon their talent and their ability, and no, they signed their soul over to the Illuminati, and that's going to guarantee the success that they have. It doesn't matter how much money they have in the bank. As long as they can go and do that handshake and shake up with the right people, they will be all right. So, but other issues are brought up with the whole conversation about Jocelyn Savage and R. Kelly holding hostages and the age of consent, and this is something that I want to deal with. I think this is an attack on human rights. It's a low-key, slick attack on human rights. Now, they're saying the age of consent basically is supposed to be 18, I guess, because if you're saying the age of consent is 18 when a person is grown, or even 21. I know it's on the books 18, but some people go as far as to say 21. Then that's how you can say, well, R. Kelly was messing with young women, and you accuse him of pedophilia and statutory rape because he may have dated Aaliyah when she was young, you know, or married her when she was young, or didn't marry her, or some people say the marriage documents was fake, or he didn't marry her when she was young. So you're basically saying he committed statutory rape. He picked the fruit before it was ripe legally. So you're saying that there is an age of consent. At least you want us to believe that there is an age of consent, or that the age of consent has relevance. But then at the same time, you says Jocelyn Savage, which is a grown woman, we know she's grown, we know she's not a teenager. She does not have the consent to say that she wants to be with R. Kelly, that she's under brainwashing, she's under mind control, because this woman cannot make her own conscious decisions. So you saying that Jocelyn Savage is unable to consent to being with R. Kelly, she's being brainwashed. So now you're telling me that even if you're grown, that you may not have the ability to consent. So that means you are not a conscientious person. You are not a conscious person. You are still some type of ward of the state, or ward of your family, or ward of popular opinion. So now you're telling me a grown woman doesn't have the right to consent. So now, so you're saying women never have. Women are never in a position where they are at the age of consent. While at the same time you're telling us that R. Kelly was with women before the age of consent. So you're giving us two things at the same time, because so the same thing that you're trying to persecute and prosecute R. Kelly for is dealing with women below the age of consent. You're also persecuting and prosecuting him for dealing with women above the age of consent. Let me get this correct. So now no women will ever be at the age to consent. Women don't have human rights, and black women particularly are capitalizing off of being treated as though they're stupid and that they cannot make a conscious decision when it comes to dealing with a black man. That they are always the victim, they are always vulnerable, and they always need some type of special concern. So you've demonized the black man, and also at the same time made the black woman seem as though she is not conscious or intelligent enough to make a decision of as whether to be with a black man or not. So, but when it comes to running corporate America, the black woman she makes decisions all the time. She runs all the grocery stores, she runs the corporate offices, she's a nurses at the hospital, head nurse, she's the head doctor. Every role that it takes to maintain institutions of white supremacy, institutions that are certified and validated by white supremacy, she has the consent to do whatever needs to be done. She's a decision maker. I mean, even with the police department, the state's attorney that's going at R. Kelly, I can't mention her, I can't remember her name, but she's a black woman. She's very definitive in how she wants to come at R. Kelly, and how she would like to prosecute him, and how she feels about the allegations that came out in the docuseries. So in one case, when it comes to running white America and pushing the agenda of white America, she has all the decision-making power in the world, that she is conscious, she can consent, she can go along with this white male-dominated system and structure. She can go along with that, and she can consent to that. But now when it comes along with dealing with a black man, we question her sanity, her stability, and her decision. Her decision can be questioned when she's dealing with the black man. But when it comes to the system of white supremacy, oh, it makes absolute sense. She can come to a complete decision, no problem. So that's some contradiction. That's some huge contradiction. It's now a question of human rights. That the black woman doesn't have the right now to make her own decision about what man she wants to be with, or how she wants to be with a man. This is what's showing up now. So if that's the case, then there's an illusion of the age of consent. There is really no age of consent, and consent does not even matter, because it always can be challenged and questioned by someone who has a different opinion or a different perspective of what's going on. I don't care what you consent to, but if I have a different perspective of it, then I can challenge that and not even believe that you had consent or are consenting, and undo your consent by saying you're brainwashed and you don't know what you're doing because you're making a different decision than I would make, or doing something different than I would do. So now I can actually I can disqualify you having a different perspective, or a right to different perspective, or choosing a series of actions based on a different perspective. I can disqualify all that to say, well, you know what, you brainwashed. You're brainwashed. You don't know what you're doing. When it comes to a black woman supporting and being with a black man and accepting him as a leader and a head, that black woman don't know what she's doing. But when it comes to her ruling, and when it comes to her being an administrator and operating and working within white supremacy, where unarmed black men are getting shot down, and working as a correctional officer in a facility where 40% of the people that's locked up in that facility are the same skin complexion as hers, are black men, that somehow she's making a conscious decision and not being exploited based upon the resources that this evil and wicked system provides for her. She's making a conscious decision. she was consciously aware of the complete plight of black people, politically, socially, and economically, that she would consciously choose to work for an institution that capitalizes off the oppression of black people. She can consent to that. But when it comes to being and helping and supporting and being with a black man who is under attack, has been under attack, who is working hard to build and establish their own institutions or establishing to build their own thing, there's no way she could be consenting to that. So black women are taking a back seat now, intellectually. You had this one white girl, Jamie Close, who was kidnapped and escaped. And she's being looked at as a hero for escaping being kidnapped. This young white girl, teenager, she should be looked at as a hero for escaping, because the power to get away was in her hands. The power to do something different was in her hands. So she should be looked at as a hero, because a hero acknowledges someone who had the power to do something and realized they had the power to do it and did it. So she should be looked at as a hero. But you mean to tell me this white teenage girl can choose to make a different decision and escape against the odds and escape from her kidnapper? No Stockholm Syndrome, nothing. Just decide, yeah, hell, I'm getting the hell up out of here. And you mean to tell me that this grown black woman can't walk out of the Trump Towers where she stands as a resident with R. Kelly? She can't just walk out? You want us to believe that? It's interesting that if the woman depends on a black man who has money and is making money and has resources, and if she doesn't have any money and she wants to leave that black man, then she's in a cult if she stays in that relationship. She's in a cult because she's staying in that relationship for financial reasons, for money, for whatever. He's a cult leader. She's been exploited. She's under mind control. But if she's with a man and she has more money than that man and she decides to leave that man, then she's looked at as being an independent black woman, making her own decisions. If she say, I'm leaving that black man because I want to upgrade, I want to go to another level, then she's celebrated. So this is what you're telling me. So the same black woman is in America because of what America provides, even everything that the white man has did to her ancestors. America is exploiting her, taking care of her. Is she under mind control? Is she being exploited? Is she being brainwashed to work for a country where her slave masters are dominant, where her oppressor is the dominant mindset? So that means every black woman in America is being human trafficked by the American government itself, because none of us came over here consensually and none of us consent to our oppression. So we are the perpetuation of the human trafficking that brought us over here. So that human trafficking that brought us over here never ended, because now it is exploiting, and we have Stockholm Syndrome as a people because it is exploiting us now, and now we're building and working for the people who human trafficked and slaved our ass over here and brought us under bondage. We're working for them. So that means every black woman in America is pretty much a victim of human trafficking, and a black man. And it's a perpetuated human trafficking industry that's trafficking us from down the school to prison pipeline. So the whole black race is being human trafficked. Is caught up into human trafficking. That's the reality. And we can't even really lead a country without their permission, without their paperwork, without their documentation, without letting the master know where we're going and getting his permission. So we are literally in bondage. So we've been human trafficked, and we're in bondage, and we're expected to be industrious and work and build his society financially, or we are criminalized If we try to leave this country without his permission, we're criminalized. So that means if we try to escape, we're basically criminals. We're criminalized. So we've been held in bondage here in this country and forced to work for his society for our food, clothing, and shelter, and forced to have a positive attitude and a positive perspective about our oppressor. That sounds like brainwashing. Sounds like human trafficking. So how does someone who's human trafficked an entire race accuse one black man, R. Kelly, for human trafficking? How do you do that? Now, like I said, I'm not doing this video because I'm defending the false narrative of R. Kelly coming under attack for human trafficking or brainwashing women or having a cult or sexual abuse. That's not even real. So I can't defend him there on something that's not even real, something that's made up by the elite. That if R. Kelly is human trafficking, like for real, he's working for Donald Trump. Him, Donald Trump, and Hugh Hefner are all a part of the elite human trafficking ring in America. And the Trump Towers is being used as a part of this human trafficking network that R. Kelly is involved, that he's bringing women and bringing, entities into that this is all sanctioned human trafficking in Trump Towers from the United States all the way to Dubai. So if he's human trafficking women in the Trump Towers, best believe it's sanctioned human trafficking, and that Donald Trump is involved in it, in this human trafficking. And actually, Melania Trump was human trafficked as well. She's a human trafficking MK Ultra brainwashed zombie that he's calling a wife. So if we want to go that far with the narrative, then we have to go all the way that far. But this is not me defending something that is a false narrative. I'm not defending that. There's no way you're going to tell me that R. Kelly is human trafficking women in Donald Trump's hotel and he's the president of the United States, and there's absolutely nothing that this government and this country could do about it. If this is allowed to be put out, that is staged. So I can't defend that, but I can defend how they're making the black man look, and I can defend, and I can go at the narrative they're trying to create, how they're trying to strip the human rights away from the woman, where the black woman does not have the right to make a decision anymore, and that the government and institutions can step into her relationship and family anytime they feel like it, and invade under the auspices of well-beingness, and anybody can just come up with their own narrative to put the black family structure under attack, or to put black relationships under attack. Any little institution can step in and run off any negative narrative in order to put, our relationships and our family affairs under a police state, under tyranny. They're basically taking the black woman's human rights by telling her she doesn't have the right to be human. She does not have the right to make a decision. That on one level, the feminists is saying men and women are equal and women have been oppressed in the society, and in another breath, they're saying black women don't even have the ability to make a decision as to whether they want to be with a man or not, or whether it's beneficial for them to be with a man or not. You're saying that these black women are stupid and unintelligent, but then you're going on this end and showing us that this young white teenage girl is able to escape kidnappers and murderers and just walk right out the house and go on about their business. So you're not only demonizing a black man with this narrative, you're also demonizing a black woman in the sense that you're making her look incompetent, you're making her look ignorant, you're making her look stupid, you're making her look gullible, you're making her look vulnerable, and this is the same woman that's running this country. This is the same black woman that's running the white man's institutions every single day, 24 hours a day. If it's running in America, a black woman got her hands in it and she's running it, managing and administrating this. So over here, she's intelligent, she's brilliant, genius, she's brilliant, she's the most educated, human being in this country. And then on this end, when it comes to the black man, she's stupid, gullible, and vulnerable. Because you have put an image up of the black man that is so low that if any black woman would want to be with a black man today, it got to be something wrong with her. Because how could she want to be with a black man after y'all have propagated and pushed out such a low and negative image of what the black man is? You got the R. Kelly thing going on. Got to go in on this. And you have him coming under attack with this docuseries. And then you have this white guy shoots Jasmine Barnes in Houston, Texas. And then you blame it on two black guys. You said two black guys did it. But one of the black guys say he didn't do it. The other black guy confessed to it. And you just throw it on these two black guys. After the witness, the daughter, surviving daughter, said she saw a white man and described him. You all still managed to put this murder on two black guys. That's nothing but the demonization of the black man. Nothing but the demonization of the black man. And you do this strategically while you demonize R. Kelly before the public. And R. Kelly participates in his own demonization, which is why I feel that he's a part of the Illuminati agenda. Because he participates in his own demonization. He would go and continue to do songs to troll people at his birthday party, and you know, he's just trolling the situation. He's not making it look better. He's not making himself seem other than the demonization attacks. He's not doing a counter propaganda campaign. He's just going with it, and he's just building energy off of the negative propaganda. That's why I feel like he's involved in it. That's why I said it's a deeper Illuminati conspiracy too. He's in the bed with some black people are working with their own demonization. They're being used, they're actors in the overall demonization of the black man in this country. Like, they don't mind playing that role to destroy the image of the black man for whatever they can get out of it. In his case, I guess it's free rent at the Trump Tower. If you $80,000 behind in rent. I've never heard of anyone $80,000 behind in rent and still allowed to live there. So obviously he's getting free rent for participating in this demonization of the black man. Otherwise, he would quickly debunk this, quickly change this narrative, quickly present what he's doing in a different light that is other than what is being projected. He wouldn't play into this in order to make more money and get more energy, and you know, it's not working to our advantage. So you have two demonization attacks at the same time. Black guy accused of shooting a little black girl, and then R. Kelly comes out. This docuseries comes out. This is by design. This is what they're doing. We're being demonized right now. Then you got people like Damon Dash. One of the guys who was in the docuseries talking about R. Kelly, now they're getting his ass for assault. Claiming he didn't assault some woman, sexual assault. He the main one talking about R. Kelly because he thought this was limited to a false narrative that they created about R. Kelly. What they have said about R. Kelly is a false narrative, and it literally is fake news. It literally is fake news, but some blacks have bought into it, and they're just going with. Not only is it not true, not only is it spent, not only is it engineered, it's completely fake news. Meaning that if you're taking either side on it, you're caught up into fake news that was put in front of you. So they're using this fake news. This guy thinks whoever this guy was in his docuseries think he's being a real man by going against R. Kelly, like John Legend and a lot of people who I can't mention all the actors and all entertainers who want to side against R. Kelly and throw him under the bus in the public for whatever points they can get. Think it's just about R. Kelly. They think it's just about that fake news story. No, it's about the demonization of the black man. That's why he was next. The very dude in the documentary was next, and now he's going in for assault, sexual assault. Damon Dash speaks up, you know, puts his cape on like he's a superhero for Aaliyah, and you know what I'm saying? He was so hurt and so touched by what happened with Aaliyah. So he thinks he's standing against R. Kelly. Then his whole clique, Rockefeller or whatever they were at the time, whatever he had with Jay-Z, whatever that music company. I can't keep up with this shit. Whatever that record label they had. Now they all going under war because they all was together. R. Kelly, Damon Dash, and Jay-Z. So they wasn't stopping at R. Kelly. They're not going to stop till they demonize all these Negroes, till they take down Jay-Z, till they take down all of them. So Damon Dash sits up there and talks about how hurt he was and how much he didn't want to work with R. Kelly and played into the demonization of R. Kelly. And now he gets sat down in front of Nick Cannon, and now they're trying to use him to demonize Jay-Z next. But at the same time, he can't escape the demonization himself, because while he would participate in the best of both worlds, he was in between two pedophiles, one dealing with Foxy Brown and the other one dealing with Aaliyah. So he can't escape that. Why you in the middle? Why you even in the scene? Why are you a part of this? Why are you a part of this homosexual, pedophile, pederasty, hip hop enterprise? Why are you even a part of this, Damon Dash? Why are you even participating in this? Just for the money? Or, nobody will be innocent. No stone will be left unturned. All of them gonna be God. All of them gonna be gonna go into warfare. So that's what Damon Dash didn't really realize, unless he's a part of the Illuminati agenda to demonize black males, and he willingly will participate in this, because some blacks will participate in white supremacy and the white supremacy agenda. You see that with Kanye West. You see this with Candace Owens. Some blacks just don't mind being used by their white slave masters. Some blacks don't mind being actors and ghetto gaggers. You know what I'm saying? They don't mind, while white supremacy is about to ghetto gag the whole black community. They will go along with it just to look good as one person. Just however they can capitalize and come up, and whatever points they can get off of as one individual, they'll throw the whole race under the bus. So this is what happens with Damon Dash. He wants to be the better guy. I'm self-righteous. I'm the boss. I'm the thug. I'm this. I will never stand for that. I got principles. I'm like this. Forget R. Kelly. To hell with that nigga. But he don't realize it's not about R. Kelly. It's Operation Demonize the Black Man 2019. It didn't stop with Cosby. It didn't stop with so many blacks in 2018. So now Damon Dash is in the hot seat of, why are you partying in fiesta videos, and why are you working with these individuals if you know that these are pedophiles? And so now you're guilty. Now you're making Jay-Z guilty. Now you're making your whole record company guilty. And if you throw in there African Bambaataa and other issues that have happened within the hip-hop industry, you're making everybody guilty. The whole hip-hop is goddamn guilty. And it's going to go from muting R. Kelly to muting R&B to muting hip-hop to muting the goddamn black race and to muting the black woman. Because actually, it should be hashtag mute the black woman too, because if Joycelyn Savage can't come out and say that she's consenting to be with R. Kelly, leave her alone, she wants to be with that man, then we're by default muting her. So everybody's about to get muted out, man. Ain't no black person or any aspect or dimension of black culture. If you can mute out Cosby's, if you can mute out Fat Albert, if you can mute out staples in black culture and consciousness, then you can mute out everything. You can mute out the father of hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? African Bambaataa. All black culture is going to get muted out. All black people, they're working to mute out all black people. The whole population control. All this was mute out the black man. And now they've turned up, mute out the black man. That's their agenda. Mute out the race. Mute us out. They might be building walls against the Mexicans, but they about to mute out black people. None of our individual opinions or perspectives will matter eventually at the rate we're going if we don't really see what's going on. America itself is getting ready to plunge into anarchy, but that's a whole nother video. It's slowly headed for anarchy because it's losing all integrity. It's too much division in this country, and all integrity and all boundaries is being broken down. Anything can become a controversy at any moment, something that we all understood, some ways that we've been living for so many years, so many traditions that we've had. All of it is questionable now. You don't know, is it all right to call a man a man? Is it all right to call a woman? Is your wife, or is she a brainwashed zombie? Can you have a girlfriend? Or are you participating in consensual rape or consensual sexual assault? Everything is being questionable now. Everything nothing is nothing anymore. It depends on who can add a hashtag to it and what political group or political agenda can get behind it. So there's no foundation or no fundamentals to this country no more. So we're slowly but surely moving into anarchy. But I think quicker than us going into anarchy, we're experiencing the black race getting muted. See, when something is happening, black people always get the worst part of it because we're on the bottom. So we always feel it worse. So if we're feeling it here, America's in for it, man, as a whole. So you want to now get your black ass as far up out of this matrix as you possibly can. Stop believing in this false artificial reality. Stop trying to be validated by it. Stop giving energy to it. You got to get out now. This is the time that you must get out. It's 100% bullshit now, particularly for black people. But I had to touch on that this is what we're up against. Blacks not being free and not being able to make their decisions. You see this both happening with R. Kelly and Joycelyn Savage. Neither one of them is able to make a decision. R. Kelly can't make a decision to be with them because it's not really the age of consent. It's the age that the state or the age that your oppressor or the age that your slave master gives you permission to do it. So it's really the one consenting is white supremacy all the time. Because if white supremacy doesn't consent to it, I wouldn't care if she's 30 years old. I wouldn't care if she's 25 years old. I wouldn't care if she's 21 years old. If the white man does not consent to it, then nigga, you ain't able to do it. Nigga, you cannot do it in this society if the white man does not consent. So true age of consent means the age of white permission, the age of the white man's blessings, the age of your oppressor giving you the freedom to do something. So it's not even about the age of consent. It's about keeping niggas in their check, keeping niggas in their place. It's about controlling the narrative on things. It's about the hidden hand. It has nothing to do with the age of consent, the protection of black women, the protection of young black girls, or the sexual deviancy within the black male population. It has nothing to do with that. None of that even matters. It's keeping the Negroes in check, making sure Negroes don't get too big, and controlling mass perception of black people at all times. Even if they have to quickly change the narrative, quickly shake up things, and quickly change up things, as long as they maintain control over the narrative, then they can control the population and the mindset of the mass population to steer it towards their agenda, keep us from rising up as a race and rising up as a people and overthrowing their shit and coming back into power. I had to touch on this. It's King Noble Black Supremacy. Join my website, www.kingnoblepblacksupremacy.com. Donate and definitely don't hate.